Welcome to the BL Perspective Podcast. Wait, let me say that again. Welcome to the BL Perspective Podcast.
The courtroom where your favorite BLs are put on trial.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Amu.
I'm Jay.
I'm Amu.
I'm Jay. And every episode, one of us steps in as prosecution.
And the other does everything possible to defend the accused.
We're bringing the evidence, plot holes, red flags, bad decisions.
But also chemistry, heartbreak, emotional scenes. But also chemistry, heartbreak, iconic scenes, and emotional damage.
Nothing is safe in this courtroom.
And the final verdict.
That's up to you.
Members of the jury, court is now in session.
The court will now call to the floor case number 003, me and Thee. That rhymes. For those unfamiliar with the docket, the story follows T. Kiarat Kian Lee, or Thee, the eccentric, ultra-wealthy heir to a mafia empire turned luxury perfume mogul. Thee, or Kunti, as we know him from the show, has spent so much of his life isolated by mafia safety protocols and watching dramatic soap operas that he has absolutely zero concept of how normal human interactions work. Enter our co-defendant, Peach, a grounded, fiercely independent freelance photographer who just wants a quiet life. When Thee decides he wants to woo a young model, he ropes a highly reluctant Peach into becoming his personal love coach. But instead of learning how to date someone else, Thee launches a relentless, world record-breaking, utterly delusional campaign to win over Peach instead. We ask you to keep an open mind, look past the eye-roll inducing cheesiness of the later episodes, and look at the sheer joy of the execution of this show. The defense rests its opening. All right, me and Thee, what do we got? It is one of my favorite shows. Oh my goodness, it's such a fun watch. If you're looking for something just very lighthearted, and you want to take your mind off of things and you just want to go back to the days when things were just simple and just romance was just romance without the complications of blah blah blah, right? You just want a good rom-com. This is it. This is rom-com in its core. You know what I mean?
I will say this is a true rom-com. Like, I find a lot of rom-coms these days, it's rom-com for about like half the story, and then something
and then rom drama
happens. And then it just becomes a rom drama towards the second half.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
lose the comedy aspect. But this show, I will say, did a very good job of maintaining that comedy throughout. First episode to the very last episode, you had it just on for you all the time. And because of that, it was thoroughly like a very fun ride when you're watching this show. And
can we just compliment Pon's acting? Because, excuse me, like, he played this role so well to the point where people online are saying it's like, you know how you're born for a character? This is a character is born for you, right? Like, literally, he embodied Thee so well to the point where, like, even now, the entirety of like BL media and all these other BL actors were mimicking all the lines that Thee was saying because they were so cheesy and they were so funny and so fun to do. Essentially, it was such a great character choice. Whoever designed this character, chef's kiss.
It became definitely very iconic, and I think it says a lot because it's one thing to have. This is also based off of a book, by the way, guys. So like, I know the story was popular enough, but to take a story that's already really well known and to take the title character and then still make him iconic to people everywhere, that takes definitely a good amount of skill. And the fact that Pon was able to do it, so yeah, like, huge kudos to him for being able to achieve that.
I just want to say, so the series is based off of a popular Thai web novel, which the English translation to it is called Have Some Mindfulness, Kunti.
Yeah.
Why is that so funny? And it's written by the author La Willa, just for information out there. I don't know what more is there to say. Like, it's such an overall enjoyable watch. Like, and it's like such a lighthearted watch with all the heavy dramas these days, you know?
It's also, I don't know how well known it is, but a lot of like Yeah, it has like a lot of cheesy elements or sometimes even cliched elements, but that takes a lot of inspiration from older Thai lacorns. I think Thai people were used to growing up with watching more of like the cheesy styles and like the cliche tropes, but those tropes are reintroduced here not as like a serious aspect at all. It's so funny because you kind of have like that meta where he is also watching the lacorns on TV, and he's kind of like an extension of the show that he is watching himself, you know? And so the fact that I think they were able to integrate that element, like something that perhaps like locals in Thailand were used to watching, and they were able to integrate it into like a BL show where it had previously not been able to do that. And I guess that resonated with a lot of people, and which is why it became so popular domestically. Like, I know like internationally it became popular. I think it's really important to mention that this was a BL show that people in Thailand were watching, not just for the fact that it was a BL show. Like, people who didn't even watch BLs were watching this show. And that's why it became so incredibly popular throughout, like, mainland Thailand and outside. So I would say like huge props
Agreed.
to the creators and the whole team of the show for being able to do that. So I would say that this has definitely been a really good watch. Very easygoing watch, as we just mentioned, easy breezy.
Like I think like series and movies and everything these days need to have some sort of underlying theme of some things tragic, you know, for it to like do what it's doing. I think it's just now for our generation to enjoy something, we just need something that's more mentally engaging. So it needs to be more nuanced. There needs to be like several things going on at the same time in a story for us to like multiple couples and only friends being one of the examples. There needs to be so much more going on, so much more plot heavy and whatnot. Whereas like Me and Thee is like it's one of those breezy watches that you can watch with your whole heart, and it's just so easy going on your emotions, just batter and bruise you.
100%. I also want to point out, like, it's not like there's no conflict in this story. There definitely are points of conflict. It's not even just like one. There are multiple conflicts that do arise, but most of those conflicts were able to be resolved, I think, within the duration of a single episode. I think there could have
Or
been a
like
few
the next
exceptions
episode.
where, or the next episode, yeah, like a few exceptions where they kind of bleeded into the next one. But for the most part, most of the conflict settled pretty quickly. And because of that, it's not like you're constantly like worrying about like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, no, that what's going to happen is resolved by the end of the episode. So you're like, you are left finishing that episode feeling, oh, you're still feeling kind of like light and nice about it. I do want to mention there are some pretty good songs on the soundtrack for the show. Namely, Pond and Pooin did a pretty good job of the main OST, the theme song. Actually, you know what's so funny? Even before I started watching the show, I heard the song because Jimmy had sung it, guys. I'm sorry, I have to put it out there. Jimmy did sing it at one of his events, and I remember thinking at that time I hadn't been following Me and Thea and hadn't really started watching it, though it had already become pretty popular. It was on my to watch list, just never got around to it. But anyways, he sang the song, and I remember thinking, oh, this is a really nice song. Like, where is this from? And then someone in the comments of that particular video had mentioned it was like the theme song to Me and Thea. And then I went and heard Pon Puin's original version, and I remember still thinking that, oh my God, this is like really nice, it's really cute. And then when I actually went and watched the show and have the song integrated within the, you know, like the episodes, oh, so darn cute. So
It's so cute.
yes,
I love that show.
yes, another
It's
reason
such
it
a
makes it.
rewatchable show too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've already watched it twice,
It
by the way.
is. Oh, really? Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I have not watched it again, but she is right. It is a very good the rewatchability factor is high on this show versus other
Mm-hmm.
shows. So now that we've talked about all the really good aspects of it, how much we enjoyed it, I think now it's time to get into a little bit of the critiques. There isn't, on to be really honest with you, it was hard to find critiques for this show as well because once again, disclaimer, these are all our favorite shows. We enjoyed watching them, and to find points of discussion in terms of critiques are very, very difficult. My first critique is that I don't think the audience really knows how or why Peach fell in love with T. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that by the end of the show, he's very much in love with T, okay? But from the get-go, it had always really been T that is going after him, you know, pursuing him. And T, for the most part, was very nonchalant, I think, and didn't even really realize that Thee was actually pursuing him up until a certain point. Okay, and even when he got the confession, I felt like he kind of said yes to him more so out of like, interesting. Well, I think I'll just see how this goes, and just kind of just like, okay, yeah, sure, I like you too. But I don't think he was ever actually
Objection.
like in love with him. Let me finish the point, please, okay? But yeah, I don't think he had an actual like physical attraction for Thee. I did see some people on the internet also mentioning that it seemed like the show kind of portrayed Peach as a very much like the straight guy who only had straight relationship, and then all of a sudden when he did end up liking this guy, there was actually even no surprise, or not surprise, but not even like an acknowledgement of the fact that it was like a guy. So, but I don't know if that was necessarily, that's not necessarily my point that I'm trying to bring. I just wanted to put it out there that that is what some people have said. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. I don't think there really needs to be a whole, oh my goodness, it's a guy type of thing. But more so than that to me is the fact that it was like very much a slow burn. Mind you, this show is also a slow burn, but it's done in a weird way, like slow burn romance in the sense that it was very much Thee pursuing Peach for like majority of the show, and then Peach didn't really show any kind of like feelings back until that one crucial moment in the show where like he confesses and he says yes. So it kind of felt like we went from 0 to 100. It was no gradual progression of him like having feelings for Thee. Rather, to me, it seemed like it went from like 0 to nothing. You know, so I'm just kind of
All
confused
right.
as to when this happened, like when,
Let
like
me
why
eliminate
did
your
Thee
confusion. Let me help. Hold on. Okay. We already know that Peach is like this reclusive guy, right? He's an introvert. He likes to keep to himself. He's very like independent. He likes to be free. He doesn't even want to keep a job. So he only does like photography contract based. So he's
Mm-hmm.
very free spirited and independent in that sense. We see that in the past he's been broken up with by
Sure.
all of his ex-girlfriends for being boring or for not wanting to do things or whatever, like for just being boring essentially, because again
Mm-hmm.
he kind of just does what he wants to do, but he
Right.
lives his life. And like, you know, the past relationships he's had haven't been successful, obviously, because of
Mm-hmm.
that factor. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now in comes Thee, breaking all doors possible. Essentially, when Thee came into his life, at first Peach is allowing Thee's presence in his life, like all, like usually he wouldn't, right? Usually he's very independent, he does his own thing, okay, but he's kind of allowing Thee to bombard his personal space or whatever, right, to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
because he thinks he's helping Thee get together with Aran, who's like the model,
It's his
the
friend.
Santa's
Yeah.
character, right? Who is his
Mm-hmm.
like close friend. And we already know that Aran has that toxic dude as his boyfriend, which we see all of like 3 seconds of, by the way. But
Mm-hmm.
we
Love
Peach's
that. Okay.
ambition in this situation is to help Aran get out of that bad relationship. And he's like, if this guy who's kind of corny, but he seems to be genuinely interested, then cool, maybe they can get together and then he can be out of that previous relationship, which he keeps getting sucked back into, right? His ambition is that. That's why he's allowing Thee to be close. He basically gets conditioned into like, you know, having Thee's presence and then being able to tolerate it, right? Like he builds
Mm-hmm.
up that tolerance, right? As the steps are going, there's moments of realization that we see him have. The moment of when he
Oh, I'm
pulls
not
Thee
saying he
into the
didn't.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
listen,
definitely
right?
moments. Mm-hmm.
When he pulls Thea into the rain and there's that eye contact, when like he, you know, like is about to touch Thea's arm but doesn't, and then Thea like puts his hand on his arm saying like, you can touch my arm. There's
Mm-hmm.
those moments where there's like that spark of like realization, but then it like fizzles out because like still in his head at the beginning of the show is that like, yeah, I'm helping him get together with Aran. At that point, I'm pretty sure he's realized that it's probably not Aran, but he's like refusing to accept it because I don't think he pictured himself with number one, a guy, and number two, someone like Thee, right? Like it's just
Hmm.
so out of pocket. So
Right.
now this like, so then they go to have the first kiss, which is on the canoe in the ocean. After that kiss, he's in his hotel room confessing to his sister inside a blanket going like, that, what else does that show you if not that he's falling slowly but surely? There are signs, you just missed them, prosecutor sir.
I don't know. I agree that there are definitely signs, but for me, they
Then what else
weren't
do
signs
you
that
need?
he. No, but they weren't signs that he liked him. Like I agree that there are definitely signs where he looks like he's very intrigued by him, or there are signs that like he did a good job of like lifting his spirits when he was down. So I feel like those moments he appreciated these presence. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that some of those moments were like moments where he thought like, oh, I really like him, like I'm like really attracted to him or whatever, something like that. I think that only really came probably, well, yeah, definitely during the kiss, but and then following that, the arm one, the one where he was like kind of like reluctant to hold the arm. I wouldn't call that physically attractive. I think it was more so because he knew that
I'm not saying it was
he
physically
doesn't like.
attractive. I'm saying that there's that moment where he goes like, "You can touch my arm," and then there's that spark. Don't you see it? It's in their eyes, bro.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think that's that. I think that meant more to Thee. That specific moment, I think, meant more to Thee than it
No,
meant
it meant a lot to the thing.
Peach.
That's what I'm saying. There's that like barrier of I'm helping him court Aran. So like if
No,
there
no, no,
had been a
100%.
moment, it would have been
I
less
agree.
so on Peach's side because he has that like mental barrier thinking that like it's not for me. You know what I mean? Like even like we there's nothing more than friendship, right? Even if that spark did
That's
happen,
what
there's
I'm saying
also
though. But then that's the whole thing. You spend a considerable amount of time where he doesn't even realize that the affections are for him. So there's literally nothing coming from him. And then all of a sudden you
but
get the kiss and then you get the confession and he's like, "Yep, I like you now." Bro, where did that
no,
come from?
it's not like that. Slowly, he's having his realization is more like at the back of his head. There are feelings. I'm telling you, you see it. Okay, it's nuanced, but there it is there. All right, and I'm telling you that arm holding part was definitely the rain part was again definitely one of those moments where there's a spark, but
But
then there's
see, that's
denial because he is still thinking that like Thea is courting Aran and not him. He doesn't it doesn't click. So his feelings while there are like overshadowed by that reality that isn't really even real.
the only thing is that denial that you're talking about, like that feeling of like, oh, it's not for me, it's for somebody else. I don't think we got so much of that. Like that wasn't shown explicitly very much. Even
Yeah, but
even
it's
in passing,
understood.
it was okay. Listen, there's only so much we can just be like, oh yeah, that is understood. This is
I
understood.
understood it. Hey, in the great wise words of Monk Kasem, okay, some things
Oh
are
my
just
god. Listen, we decided we
some
would not
things
be
are
using
just
the
the way they
argument
are
of
because
this.
that's the way they are. Okay.
Okay, we cannot just like pass on every single critique with that argument. But anyways, my
Hey, if
my
Monk
argument
Kasem
stands.
said it, I believe it. Okay. I need
um,
no other authority telling me otherwise.
Whoever is watching this, I hope you watched the Kim Jira podcast before because that's what this is leading into.
Okay,
uh,
listen. I'm telling you, you need to go rewatch it. I've watched it twice. I know what I'm talking about.
I know you watched it
A
twice.
one-time
I'm just saying.
watcher cannot claim the same claims.
I just want to mention this is not just my claim. Other people had this claim too. That it was
I
one of the
think
things that was
that's
brought
a
upon.
disclaimer. That's a disclaimer that we need to make that for most of our accounts, it is research that like other people have that claim. Like others
Yeah,
historically
a
within the
lot of
existence of that show,
historically.
whatever, within the like
I love
since
it.
that show existed, okay,
Yes.
these are the
Yeah, yeah,
counts
yeah.
that
No, I get it.
popularly people have brought up, and therefore we are just, putting a voice
That's
to
what I'm
them
saying.
essentially.
Like, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. This critique of mine is not just my critique. It is just something that many people have brought up in my research. It's a critique that many people have brought
Well,
up.
I've
So I
just
can't
answered all these
say
many people. I hope you guys have the answer. I just gave it to you. Here it is. Like, go rewatch it. Like,
okay
you're
to
good.
all the
Like,
critiquers. Jay has your answer apparently. But anyways, I don't know. I still kind of feel like it could have been a bit more well done. It was like you said, if you felt that it wasn't like that, then great. if that's the case, then I feel like it was way too nuanced. I think there is a level between having it a good nuance and it being almost non-existent. For me, personally, this felt kind of
I
non-existent.
think we bring this up in Came Dear as well, but like if during the watching of this show it didn't bother you,
Then I think
then
it's
it's
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
When you start thinking about it, like at the beginning, Amu was complaining to me, saying, "Oh my God, how am I even supposed to put claims on this show? Like
Yeah.
it is, you know what I mean? Like how what do I even say, right?" But now she has four. Okay, so clearly there's claims that can be put. And that's the thing, right? When you really start looking into things, you can pull out
Yeah.
some like skeletons out of any closet, really. Even if critiquers out there felt that like maybe Peach's feelings weren't shown as explicitly, I also think that like Thee was just overshadowing everybody and anything.
See,
Like
that's
whose
another thing
feelings
to
could have been
bring.
shown at this point when Thee was showing all the feelings? Like he was showing everybody else's
That's
feelings too,
I
you know?
will I will somewhat play a devil's advocate and say that I think that is one of the other reasons why Peach's feelings felt like it went from 0 to 100 because Thea from the get-go was at 100. And because he was
Exactly.
at 100, everything seemed very loud. And in comparison, Peach felt really quiet. Like by quiet, I
And
mean,
that
are
was
you
both of their
saying anything?
characters, right?
Like
They were like opposites.
they're polar
They were
opposites.
opposites in that sense that
Yeah.
like
But
they
I
like
think
as loud as these feelings were, that's how nuanced Peaches were. Like they were just like quieter and like more to be felt than like really be seen, you know? But they
yeah,
are. I
and
saw them with the eyes of my heart. I swear I saw them.
my second point, okay? Um, this one I did feel when I was watching the show. I did feel this, but I didn't really care much for it because this was a minor issue in the scheme of things. And it's basically having a weak side couple. Mind you, we had two couples, okay? We had two side couples. We had Pert Santa's coupling, and then we had William S. William S., in my opinion, had gotten a good amount of screen time to kind of explain their story. We didn't get everything, but I think we had enough background information and a good amount of on-screen information from the characters to establish their relationship to a certain extent. What I felt very weak was Tawan and Aran's characters. So that's Pert Santa, basically. Their relationship felt very lackluster and poorly written. Now, I understand this entire story, like me and Thee's story, is based off of a novel. These two, I have not read the novel, but these two probably got a good amount of their relationship explained, I'm assuming, in the novel. But at the end of the day, this is a show. I don't think everybody is expected to read the novel before the show. So whatever you're showing me on screen in this show is what I take home at the end of the day as a viewer of the show. So if you're showing me just glimpses and pieces of these two characters, I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do with it. Their relationship basically was just random scenes. From the random scenes that we got, all we understand is that Purt's character seems to be very toxic and very controlling slash possessive towards Santa's character. And somehow something causes them to break up. I'm assuming it could have been this nature of Purt's character that caused them to break up.
Assuming, obviously, that was the only option. Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. But is that the main reason? There could have been a bigger thing for all I know, because at the end, because that's all we're shown.
No, because they
Literally the
keep on
scene.
having Santa, even Santa's character, Aran even says it. He's like, it's because of this behavior that I can't be with you. It's because he keeps getting jealous and possessive every time he, even professionally or non professionally, exists in the hemisphere of any other guy or girl. Tawan's character just wants Santa to be his. Like, this series was 10 episodes, and in the 10 episodes, 90% of it was like Peach and Thee's story, right? And then we got like some, like, let's say 6% of like William S's like glimpses because they have their own story. From what I know, they have their own show is soon to be aired. Tawan and Aran's story is just not that significant. They are, in this case, just background characters that are used as background characters. We really don't need to know
So,
why Tawan or Aran broke up, and what does it matter to the entirety of the story anyway? They're
well
just
then,
there because T needed to like
perhaps
somebody who
it.
was close to Peach. Peach needed a reason for like him to say, "I'll help you go like get together with Aran because his ex loser is a loser." You know, like I
Yeah,
don't
and
want,
that loser.
you know.
Yeah, but then that's the same loser that he ended up reconciling with, like towards the end of the show, and there was no
And
There was no real character or real, like, it's not like he got
Okay,
any
I
better.
just
I don't
want
think that.
the thing is that before I was a show watcher, I was a book reader, right? And how it works in books, like series, is that you just don't get shit about any of the other couples, especially like series where like it's like one couple per book and then the second book in the series is like of another couple in the same universe or whatever. You just don't you
Mhm.
get glimpses, so like you get like some sort of interest. So like people interested in like Aran and Tawan's story could technically go read their story. But that's not this
Sure,
story. This is
but
me and
once
Thee. It's
again,
literally called Me and Thee. Is it me
a
and Thee and
hundred.
Aran and Tawan?
I understand. And like I said, I'm coming from just a viewer. I haven't read the book, right? But if you're giving me a show with a side couple and I have not read the book, and I'm assuming the showmakers don't expect people to be reading the book and watching the show, right? That's not an
I haven't
expectation.
read the book
So
either. I just don't
you,
I don't know why I just don't
I thought
understand
you,
why it matters so much. No, I'm
no,
saying
I'm
I'm a book
saying,
reader. I'm saying that in general, when
oh,
like
in
from
general. Okay,
like
okay, okay.
my
No,
experience
I'm
of
saying
reading
it
books, I
doesn't.
just feel like it's not a big
I
deal.
Okay, I'm saying why it's not that it's a big deal. It just felt very empty. That's what I mean. Like when I watched the show initially, I was just like, "Oh, what's the reason that they're?" I thought somewhere it would get explained as to like why they broke up, like an actual definitive, like they have like a
I
conversation
feel
about it or
like it
something.
was like I keep using this word because I guess it's my favorite word now, but it's nuanced enough. Obviously, Aran and Tawan met when they were working, right? But
Hun,
they're
no,
both
no, no.
models, hence they met on some sort of professional place, and then boom, fell in love, cool, started
Right.
dating, and it was all like googly eyes and La La Land for at the beginning. But then Tawan started acting possessive and jealous whenever.
Wait, mind you, the googly eyes in La La Land. I did we even see any of that? Was there like a scene where we get any of that?
Yes,
We're
we
just
do.
assuming
We
that
do
we
get
don't.
a flashback.
We did get a
Yes, we
scene.
do.
Okay, there was a
Yeah.
flashback. Okay, there was a flashback. But once again, the entirety. I'm just saying, if there's any Perth Santa fans out here, the number of scenes that they get into the entirety of the show, I think I can count on my one hand. But
But they were also at the same time as Me and Thee was airing, halfway through that it airing the other show, Perth Santa's show with the one where their school
no, no,
teachers
no.
started
That's
airing as
fine. That's
well.
fine.
So really, it doesn't matter. Okay, Perth Santa fans, you're fine, okay? Like
No,
do not drag them in here.
it's not about Per Santa fans. All I'm trying to say is that if you're establishing a side couple, then there has to be more than just a little fight
But
here,
who said
another
they're
fight
being
here.
established? Maybe they didn't need to be established in this story.
But
And
you're
maybe they
putting
were
them out
established
there.
enough. They were just, look, there's tears. There's
Wait. Before you say anything, let me finish my actual count because I don't think I actually finished what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that first of all we know is that this Tawan character comes off across as toxic, okay? But at no point in the show, and I'm telling you this, there do we get a real reason as to why they broke up. Yeah, you can assume it's because of his toxicity, but there is no actual verbal description saying like this was like they never have a conversation. And then there's a reconciliation. But like I'm telling you, the general course of their relationship, the viewer doesn't have really clear answers as to how or why. Like how did they get together? It's kind of
what do
assumed.
you
Why are
mean?
they having a kind
Tawan
kind of
literally
assumed?
punches Peach like twice for being close to Aran. What other reason do you need?
100%. Yeah, that happens. That's what I'm saying. Like it's just so random. Okay, the scenes for them, I'm telling you, are so damn random. All of a sudden, it'll be like Santa in like a shoot, and then what? Pert's character comes in, and then Santa and Pooin are having a conversation, and then Pert comes in, punches him, and then and then they argue, like Pert Santa argue, end scene, right? And then later on, repeats, same process. What is the point? Like, okay, listen, I'm telling you,
You're
there is
getting
no
too
meat and
deep into
bones.
the side couple. Listen to me. Listen.
No,
Go watch.
it's not that I'm telling you, I've seen
It's
side couples in other stories with minimal screen time, but it is explained a little bit better. In the two fight sequences that we had, you could have omitted that one fight sequence and had an actual, maybe even a 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes conversation to explain that relationship a little bit more and then tidy it, make it a bit more concise. But what we got
but what did
is
you even
literally,
lose if that wasn't the case?
it was just snippets. You get a snippet here, you get a snippet thrown here. In my personal opinion,
I
as a
think
viewer,
to the larger story, it just really wasn't relevant. And for
See,
like I think it was
my
like
point,
it was nuanced
my
enough that if
point.
you really wanted to understand it, you could gain your own understanding, become sentient,
So
whatever. Okay, and if
so
not, then you forget
right.
about them.
So where I'm going with this is that this side couple mattered so little to the overallness of the story. I think you could have cut them. You could have actually, what if you didn't want to cut it, the couple, what you could have done is you could have had Santa's character still there because you needed some motivation for Thea to go from a model to Pete. So you still need that model character. So you could have kept him in there. But then I don't necessarily think that couple, like you needed to even show that relationship on screen. I think you could have taken that time, the whatever, 5 minutes or whatever, and instead of having a loosely compiled couple into something more substantial for the script overall. That is what I'm trying to say. Because there was really no real point. You could have even given that time a little bit, maybe, to William as a relationship, because that was fleshed out better. Because this couple was not fleshed out well enough, in my opinion, I think either take it and use it for the main story, or take it for that other sub story that you had at least fleshed out a little bit more. That is what I'm trying to say.
I do see where you're coming from, especially if you were a Perth Santa fan and you were like, oh, I want to watch that one show that they're also in, and like you really don't get that much of them. But I do think like if that's not the perspective you're watching from, if it's just like you're there for me and Thea, like personally, I couldn't care less. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't invested in their
Right.
couple enough for me to like need to know the rest of the story. Some of it I knew because they told me, other I understood because who cares? Yeah, I think we can end that on you can win that one. That's fine. I don't really have to. I don't care.
You can win that one. We'll let the jury decide. We'll see how many people agree or care to disagree. The next count, I don't know how you're going to argue this because this is one of my, out of all the points I'm saying today, I'm telling you, this is the one I feel the most strongly about. I'm sure many people who have watched the show also have this point in their minds because I know it was mentioned many times on like a bunch of different online communities. And it's basically the wedding scene and specifically the costume choice that was given for Peach in the wedding scene, because tell me why he looked like a guest and barely a guest at his own wedding versus everybody else who were dressed to the nines. Why? What happened? Did coffee spill on his supposed his suit or whatever, and they had to find a spare outfit, and they decided, hey, if we put a white cardigan on him, he'll look wedding ready. Was that what happened? Because I don't understand. I really do not understand because the styling was very questionable. I'm telling you, before I watched the show, I saw pictures of this wedding scene, right? And not once did it occur to me that it could have been the main character's wedding. I saw pictures of everybody during the promotional stills and everything for this, and I remember not once did I think Ponpuin were enacting a wedding scene of their own. Not once did that even come to mind. I was thinking, oh, maybe it's some kind of like an event that Thea is going to, and then, Peach is also joining him or whatever. Yeah, wedding? That was not what I thought. Nope, not their own wedding, definitely not. So please,
I kind of meant to pull up this. I just need to look at it again, and I'll think of an explanation. Give me a second. It's just loading.
We'll put up a picture of Peach in his outfit because
yes. No, hold on a second. I googled it just now, and I see a picture of both of them standing with like both of them wearing like blazers, there's a picture like that. But then I know in the actual scene he was wearing like this half zip, quarter zip.
It was like a white cardigan type of situation, was it not?
No, it was a quarter zip. It was a quarter zip, but
okay,
again, very casual for a wedding. What Google is saying is that it was the director's choice essentially to dress him in like that high end, like nice brand name, whatever label knit wear, because it followed the theme of how they'd been dressing throughout the show. Even Thea,
what do you mean? Wait, if we're gonna say like, that.
Hold on. Give me 3 seconds to first argue. I'm not even saying anything. I'm literally just recounting what I read online. Like, hold your horses. It's like kind of on theme with his character. And I guess they wanted to continue to embody kind of like how laid back Peach is, I guess was the idea. Do I personally think that he should have been in that quarter zip? No, I do think he could have been in like a better. Did it again? I don't think it was like. I feel like I keep coming back to this point, but like as I was watching it, it wasn't like jarring to me that I'm like, oh my god, why is he in
I knew
that
it. I
those
knew you
clothes?
were gonna
It
say that.
seems so
You were
similar
gonna
to
say
the
it
rest of
was
his
very
wardrobe. But
nuanced.
hold on.
You were gonna say
But
it
like,
was
and
very
now that you've
nuanced.
mentioned it, no, I'm not gonna say
Nuance?
no,
Okay,
no. Listen,
nuance.
listen. But now that, hold on, I'm not even gonna say it's nuanced. I'm saying that now that you've
Mhm.
mentioned it, actually, you mentioned it yesterday. So, but I didn't look it up, and now, like, I didn't like remember that much. I was like, did he? You know what I mean? Like, like it's the same thing with like Tale of a Thousand Stars. You're like, they didn't kiss. You know what I mean? Like, it just like didn't
Mhm.
hit you, all right? So like now that I'm looking at it, I do realize that could he have had a better wardrobe? Yeah, but like you
I'm
know, like
I'm
it is
surprised you
nuanced.
didn't.
What are you gonna say?
I It was new. Okay, wait. You have to change that. It was nuanced for you. Apparently, everything in the show was nuanced for you. Like this is the one thing that was just not nuanced for me. Okay, I shouldn't say the
No,
one
no,
thing.
I
They
know
were
it
like
wasn't. I didn't. I just didn't. I
it
just
was
didn't
the
even see it
first
as a
thing that
problem
caught
until you
my
mentioned it.
eye.
That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, like literally when I was watching the show, this was one of the first like the wedding scene popped up, and for a quick second, I had to like I paused it and I was like, wait, did I miss something or something? Like what's going on? And then there's like this, and I figured I was like, okay, so this is their wedding. And I was like, wait, I'm confused. Why is he dressed like that? Was there a scene or something that I missed as to why he's dressed like that? I was legitimately thinking that, and I even went back. I like scrolled back, and I was like, "Wait, was there something? Did something skip?" No, nothing skipped. It's just the way it is. And I remember thinking, "Wait, I don't understand at all," because like no matter how laid back he is, I feel like it would have still been fine to at least have him in like a blazer of all things, because I swear didn't he at least have like on like a casual blazer even when at one point in the show when he went to work or something? So it doesn't make much
I think
sense
he
to
could
me.
have. You're right. I think even like a casual white blazer would have done more justice to the scene than like
Than this,
the
because
knit. But
even his sister is dressed up, and it's not like his sister is dressed up all the time, but even she's in like a wedding guest attire. So it doesn't make sense why he is the only
they're
person.
really like they're like this is his character, and they're like we gotta hammer it in, make sure they even know this on their wedding day,
But
like
like
you
it
know.
really doesn't make sense. Like
No, I don't
at,
have an
in a
argument for
way.
this one. I see where you're coming from. It is a
I
very like
my
why is he
only
so dressed down?
the
He is.
only thing I
What are
can
you
think
gonna
of
say? That's his outfit's choice.
the only thing I can think of is that what happened? Did he decide to be like, okay, I'm gonna have a surprise wedding and invite him to his own wedding? Is that what this
You
was?
know,
Because that makes sense.
I what I was looking up is whether or not there was like a wardrobe malfunction or something. You know what I mean? Like real time, like
I'm telling
like
you,
a back of the scenes. But there
even if
wasn't.
there
There
was a
wasn't. This was a
even if there
decisive
was
choice,
a
apparently.
even if there was a wardrobe malfunction, even like the butler people standing in the background are wearing suits. They could have
The
easily took the suit,
butler
like the
people.
blazer, and then put it on him. That would have worked actually,
Yeah,
because
but I know like you're arguing, but like I don't. I agree. You win. Like I see where you're coming from. No, I
I
do see
want
where
to
you're coming
ask.
from.
I really want to ask the director what his choice, why this choice was made. That's my one question.
Yeah, even
The show
I
is
would like
great,
to ask
but this scene, I
the
have questions.
anybody who would like to answer, like if actually someone in the jury has a good answer, please feel free to let us know
If
because
someone,
I am at a loss. I don't see why that needed to be what he wore.
right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like I'm
Okay,
staring at the
fourth count.
picture.
Let's go.
I'm, yeah. Anyways, yeah. If anyone has a logical explanation, which good luck if you have one, but if you do, please feel free to share. Okay, so my last count. Not that this really mattered to me again, but for the sake of discussion, I am bringing it forward, and it's basically the lack of the mafia stake. So this whole show is all about him being part of this mafia family, and their family has like this ban on love, which was put in place basically because to uphold the security of the family for safety, whatnot, right? So you can see it even with D. He's reluctant to bring upon his relationship with Peach, sorry, with his mom and dad. There's this buildup being built by the story, seeming as if like it's a it's like a really big deal to be in a relationship because that's just not done. And then finally, when he comes around and he says that, yeah, I'm in a relationship with Peach, this is the guy that I like, and then nothing. Where was all this high? Like his family is like very much accepting. Like even the dad. The dad is supposed to be the strict one, the one who probably would have had something to say against all of this. No, there's no argument. There is no reluctance. There is no questioning. It's just acceptance, which is great.
you know
In
how
terms
we
of
were
story, I'm happy. But like, what was the point of this entire build up from the get go if at the end of the day, we didn't have any conflict whatsoever. Like I'm saying, I'm happy about the fact that there isn't any conflict. It's great. But then why was there so much hype built up from the get go? Is all that I'm trying to
you know
say.
how
So,
you know how we were talking about how most shows that like try to say they're rom-com are only rom-com till usually the halfway mark until like it starts kind of going downhill and it becomes a little bit more rom drama.
mm-hmm.
The reason why this remained rom-com throughout is because even the biggest conflict really wasn't
A
conflict. You know what I
conflict.
mean? It was more like
Mm.
build up for the sake of having a climax, you know, and then it not being a big deal at all and it being more of like a, ha, you know, you thought it was serious, and actually the parents were all for love this whole time. Da da da, you know what I mean? Very Looney Tunes,
Mm.
like, you know, slap your knee, ha 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 type of like moment. I think
I
it
suppose you could say
I
that.
think
Yeah.
it goes like on theme with like what the show was overall, right? Like it if it had become something serious, then it would have been like
You
what
think
every
it
other show is
would
doing
not have been?
anyway. You know what I mean?
I
Like
I was just thinking
it
that.
truly was a rom-com. Like we complimented the show on being a true rom-com through and through
True.
till the final episode. And I think that
I
is one of the big reasons because it like even that huge buildup really was just like something to laugh about at the end, you know? It
I,
like
I, I think I think what I was expecting, or what I was well, I because the genre is a rom com. I'm not necessarily saying that this conflict needs to be like changing the genre of the show and making it more dramatic. I think I'm trying to say is that this conflict could have been used in a rom com light, but not in the way that it was shown in the show. Like I think it's fine, but I think with the build up, what I think could have been done is like they could have still had that conflict. Like the dad still could have been reluctant to accept, but like the way they went, the way that journey from reluctance to acceptance could have still been shown in that theatrical comedic sense that the show has done from the get go. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have
mm.
taken that serious
But they
thing
end up
and then
doing
turned
that
it into this.
anyway in a
No, no,
theatrical comedic way regardless, right?
no,
Like I
but they
see
did
what you're
that.
saying. Like you're saying like why didn't it do it in like this way versus that way? But either way,
I'm
it was
saying
done,
no,
you
but
know?
no, it's done. But I think the duration of it was just so damn short. I'm saying is the build up was this much. The resolution of that build up was this much. I'm saying if you're gonna have a build up of this much, the resolution of that build up should be at least not the same, but at least somewhat equivalent to
How?
that build up.
What scale are you using to measure these? This much is
No, what I'm just
I
saying, like
think
you
I
had
think it
what?
was
There
like
was
think
only
about
10
it. It's
episodes,
the
right?
the
But
entirety of the show, Thee's character is so like you know out of the box, right? Like we're
yeah,
not like, really expecting him. He's like you know however normal humans behave, he's behaving whatever the opposite of that is, right? So obviously I think like that if that theme was to continue, we wouldn't have your generic conflict resolution as we would in other shows where like this much equals to this much. It's like this that you know going on, like they don't care because it's not meant to be that deep. Because had they made it that deep, they would have not necessarily changed the genre, but like had they made it that like oh he was reluctant and like you know then they had to like break up for a bit, then what's the difference between this and the other dramas that also do the
that's
same
true.
thing? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
for a change of pace, maybe we needed like a super quick conflict resolution. Like who cares? The dad gives this is in the words of Monk Kasim, okay?
Oh no,
Listen,
again this.
Okay.
This mug, I
Um,
swear.
no, he says it. Some things have to happen in a certain way. This is what the dad says too. He says that like we didn't want you guys falling in love and having relationships willy-nilly because bringing someone else into our world is dangerous and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
But once you're sure, okay, that this is the love of your life and you're gonna stay true to them and all that stuff, okay, cool, we accept it, okay? Like it's
I just feel like that
oh, I just think
conversation should
it's
have
on
happened.
theme. It's so on theme. Don't you see that
Should
it's
have.
meant to be?
It's just like that conversation could have happened like way earlier on. Could you not? Then that way you
Why
wouldn't even
though?
have this
Who
conflict to
cares? We
begin
had build
with.
up.
I mean, if
I
this whole
think
show is going to be avoiding conflict, then you could have just had the resolution of this conflict way earlier on to reduce any
but
of
it was
the
so much
stress
more
that.
fun to hold off because in the trailer we see that whole thing where like Thee's father is like if I tell you to break up with him, will you? And then Thee goes like, no, you know, and that's what we get
Right.
in the trailer or the official pilot or whatever, right? So we're
Yeah.
anticipating something, but then all for it to like all for like to realize that
It was
Thee's
all for
dad
nothing.
wasn't like this like devil of a character. He was actually like down bad for the mom this whole time. Is like such a cool
Right.
surprise. Absolutely. This is why it's such a breezy watch. Like coming back to all the compliments we gave it. Why are we charging it for the compliments that we're giving it? This this is what made it what we
I am
complimented
just
it for,
saying,
you know?
once again, I have to reiterate this how many times in this episode? I do not know. But once again, this chart specifically, I really didn't care for. I'm saying it because many other people brought it up forward, and apparently there were enough people on the internet saying the same. Do I really think of this? No.
Yo, people on
Even
the
when I was
internet,
watching it,
listen to
I
me. I got things to tell you.
this is
I
I
got
don't
things
care
to
so
tell
much,
you. Okay.
but it's point of discussion, right?
I
Like we've
think,
mentioned.
yeah, like I think for those people that are really wondering why the conflict resolution was so small or like so quick, why when the buildup was so long, because it's that type of series. Okay, really, did you expect some normal shit from me and Thee? Like it's meant to
No.
be, you know, like and fun and breezy and like like
Once again,
not serious. The reason you're able to eat food and watch this is because there was not that deep of a conflict resolution. Okay, there's literally a reason. Okay,
true, true.
so that
I will
is
play
where I
devil's
end
ad.
that.
And one last thing, I will mention one last thing. If we really wanted to dig a little deeper, and I will be my own devil's advocate once again, because why not? Uh, it's not like I feel so much about this point enough to care, to be honest with you. But for those who are also mentioning that there was a lack of mafia stakes, I think there another thing we have to recognize is that a large view of the parents, like how we see the parents, is largely comes from the way Thee views his parents. So it's kind of like the extension of what we're seeing is the extension of what he's seeing, right? So if he's always
His
seen his dad
POV.
as a
Yeah.
very strict character, then our point of view is also going to be an extension of his point of view, right? So that's
Boom,
why
you
we
said
think
it
he's strict.
yourself.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what I said. Like I'm playing
Which
devil's
I think
advocate.
not even, not even just these POV, right? Also, I
Yeah.
think he's literally the head of a mafia like empire, right? I'm
Right.
gonna guess that he probably had to be strict, even like in general to
Oh,
have like
I don't
his
mean like.
face, but also like even to his kids, right? Because for safety reasons or whatever,
Mm,
right? Because there's that one scene where they're in the bathtub and like Thea is count like they're Peach is like kind of like seeing all of these scars and he's just mentioning random things like, "Ooh, I got shot here, I got poisoned here, da da da, whatever, you know,
mm-hmm.
knife mark here," right? So clearly they like there is the mafia. I don't want to say it again, but it is there. It's in the background. It's not at the forefront because Thea has separated himself, or is trying to at least, from the mafia life, right? Hence why William's character is the heir to that empire, and he's the one actually running shit versus the elder son, which is Thea. Technically should have been him, but he's not because he's too soft-hearted, and we see how Thea is, and he's just can't. He needs to run a perfume company, okay? That's what he needs to be doing, all right? Whereas that's why we don't see the mafia version, the mafia-ness or whatever. The mafia stakes are not that high because they don't need to be in his specific story. They need to be lowered actually, or they're actually fine the way they are. Honestly, people, what are you guys critiquing? Okay, like this is like I can't not with you guys. Give me some real critiques. Okay,
Like
no, but
once
seriously,
again, I will say, yeah, I will say, like when you watch the show, I didn't ever think that there was a lack of a mafia stake.
yeah,
Rather, I just it just never even occurred to me really because you're just watching it at the
it was
pace of the
fine. It was
show,
like background
right?
info. Like, yeah, he comes from a mafia
Yeah,
family, but like, he's
because
trying not to
now
be a part of
once
it. Cool.
yeah, and it was never really made to be like a very big portion of the story. I like you said, it was very much in the background versus in the forefront. So it was never an issue where, to me personally, that there was like a lack of a stake because I didn't think the stakes were very high on the mafia front to begin with. To
Yeah,
be very honest.
I don't
So
think so either. Like,
yeah.
I just don't think it was that important for the mafia. Like, if you really want high stakes mafia, guys, Kin Porsche's
Hey,
right there.
we have. I
Right
was just gonna
there.
say, high stakes mafia would be Ken Porsche right there,
That's Kin Porsche.
finest
So,
mafia.
and it's great. It's an amazing show. I will rave about it. I've literally watched it 8 times now. Okay. It's that good.
We
Okay.
will.
Amazing, amazing,
Don't.
amazing. Go watch it.
I need to. Okay, yeah, I need to stop you there on that because that is a whole other episode, which you can scream to your heart's content, but not
Yes.
today.
Which will come out one day or another. One of these days, we're going to do
Yes.
that too.
Well, thank you everybody for watching today. Great talk on Me and Thee. Please let us know what your thoughts were. Jury, we are waiting to hear your own critiques and discussions in the comments. Thank you. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the VL Perspective with Amu and Jay.
We'll see you in the next hearing. Court is now adjourned. See you in
Is
the
now
next
adjourned
hearing.
and then this? Court is now adjourned and then this?
We'll see you in the next hearing. Court is now adjourned.